Hey everybody, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I am McKinley412. Once again, another video for you for this main slate on Saturday. A big slate, and DK has definitely boosted up the prices for pitchers, for the bats. There still are some, values still kind of lingering around there in the bats and in the pitchers as well, which should make things quite interesting. Probably won't have a video out for Sunday, but we will be back. Mega is probably going to be the guy covering on Monday. So please, love to have you back. Thanks again for watching these videos. I really do appreciate it. So what we're going to do is we'll go through just kind of the pitchers, how we have them ranked. You can see on the sheet here. And then we'll just talk about some of the bats. We've got a handful of value plays that we're going to talk about here as well. So, like I said, pitching did get priced up quite a bit. We see our first two 5K pitchers, 5-digit figure pitchers, whatever you want to say, on the season in Woodruff and Wheeler. Woodruff, 30K elite strikeout rate pitcher last season, so 10.3K. That's going to be totally normal for him. Nice matchup against Chicago. There's no rain threats in any of these games, but he is still a solid option. However, bringing it down into these top 7 guys, the 9K and above, Spencer Strider is the first guy that should stand out to you. His strikeout rate last year was 37%, I think. It was just absurdly high. I don't expect something like that this season, but still, Strider at 9.7K is probably my favorite option in this top salary tier. Going up against Washington, Washington doesn't strike out too much, believe it or not. It was kind of a thing going with them back last year. They had a terrible offense, but they had a very, very low strikeout rate. But still, regardless, Strider going up against that offense, I think he's going to be our favorite guy. After him, we have, I'm jumping back and forth here. After him, we got Woodruff. Like I said, he's 10.3K. He's very expensive, but still, that's going to be the price you're going to have to pay for a lot of pitchers here moving forward. Is he going to be the guy that I turn to in cash? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how, what value kind of pops out, especially when lineups come out. See if there's been any shuffling from opening day or whatnot. But still, it's still going to be a nice play for Woodruff. Again, 30% K rate last season, going up against a Cubs team that can strike out quite a bit. Didn't have the best spring training, but still, Dylan Cease didn't have the best spring training either, and he mowed down Houston in opening day. So you can only take so much from that. After them, we got Gossman, another high strikeout guy. This guy had an incredible spring, so on the opposite spectrum as Woodruff. Incredible spring, going up against St. Louis. They had a really fun game. It was 10-9 opening day, but I think Gossman could be a nice option up in this top tier, followed by Giolito, and then that's pretty much it. I don't have much interest in Wheeler up here going up against Texas. Not too much in Eovaldi or Sandoval either. Sandoval's probably I think we put him in 5th just because the matchup going up against Oakland, and he's the cheapest of these 9+K guys. So looking into the next section of guys, it's going to be McGill up to Lodolo. Lodolo is the clear number 1 guy here. His strikeout rate is elite. He hit that 30% mark, and he's got the best matchup of them all going up against Pittsburgh. So it would not shock me if Lodolo is extremely popular on Saturday at just 8.8K. Pair him with Strider, could be a nice combination. There are some guys down lower here that are definitely going to catch your eye. They certainly caught my eye when I first opened up the slate. But Lodolo, certainly number 1. After him, we got McGill, who had, he didn't have a huge sample size last season, but still, the sample size that I did have, he had a 25% K rate, which is better than any of the guys above him. Only 7.2K. Miami, we've seen it in this series so far in the first 2 days. Miami's offense has kind of struggled. They scored only 2 runs on Friday, and it was just 2 solo home runs that they generated. On opening day, it was only 3 runs that they generated. So they're a team that can strike out. They do have a lot of high strikeout bats. They have a lot of guys that don't strike out as well either. It's kind of like a mix with them. But still, at 7.2K, you can do far, far worse in this mid-tier than McGill. After McGill, we're going with Sonny Gray, Cabrera, and then Eflin to kind of round things out. Urquidy, he's a solid pitcher, do not get me wrong. I just don't have too much interest in him just because he doesn't strike too many guys out. I was looking at his strikeout numbers from last year. He was only at 18%. So he was, 19%. So he was kind of really just great at pitching, not so great on the DFS front of pitching, which is why I have no interest in him over here. I think there's just far better options, especially Lodolo. And then you remaining pitchers down here. First guy that is going to just pop off the page at you is going to be Chris Sale. First guy that, was like the real eye-opener to me was like 6.7K Chris Sale. Like, I couldn't believe it. This is weird. Chris Sale, he's finally healthy. We're starting a season where he's finally healthy. I think this is the first time since like 2019 that this has happened. But he's got a tough matchup against Baltimore. We saw what these bats can do for Baltimore with like Santander and Mullins and Mountcastle and Rushman. Like, it's just back to back guys who can put the ball in play. It's going to be tough for him. He is pretty stretched out. Like, he was going 5 innings in his starts late on in spring. He had a decent spring except for one start where he allowed 6 earned runs in 5 innings, just got torched around, and that team was Baltimore. So it's going to be kind of interesting. I'm really interested to see what this ownership is going to shake out to be. It could be that everybody's on him because, like, Sale has that 30% K rate upside. Like, he's got that ceiling. We all know it. We've all seen it. Tough matchup going up against Baltimore, but still, Chris Sale, 6.7K. It's going to be really interesting how people play him. I'm certainly interested from that perspective. Cole Schmidt, going up against San Francisco. San Francisco, they strike out a lot. I mean, we just saw what Garrett Cole did to them. I think he struck out the first, 9 batters of that game. But San Francisco, it happened last year. They strike out a lot as a team. Cole Schmidt, he had some decent strikeout stuff in spring, and he showed it last year as well in his limited time. So I do like him at 6.5K as well. Sale, Schmidt. And then the third guy who I kind of have some interest in is Fujinami. 5.5K, very appealing price tag. It's not going to be, burning your whole lineup if he goes out there and only musters up 10 to 15 DK points. Honestly, if you can get 15 DK points at 5.5, awesome. Going up against the Angels, I know they got Trout, I know they got Ohtani, but like, what's the joke of the Angels over and over again? Is that like Trout and Ohtani just put up these historically incredible MLB records and they lose. Like, it's just what happens. So Angels can certainly let up a dud better than anybody else. Fujinami, the risk with him is his control. Had terrible control all throughout spring. I think it was like 17 walks in 17 innings. Like, it was bad. But I was looking at his Japanese numbers before recording here, and he only had a 3.2 ERA overseas, so like, he's got solid stuff. He had some solid K rate stuff. Fangraphs has them projected at like a 21% strikeout rate on the season. So still 5.5K in a matchup that they can certainly let down on offense many times is certainly appealing. So that's kind of where we're at with the pitchers. If you want to throw Sale up here, I mean, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm overthinking this. I did not get a lot of sleep last night, so who knows? I'm just going to change it now. I'm really interested to see what Sale is. More likely than not, I'm going to end up with Sale, a lot of him. But still, like Strider and Lodolo, those guys have just as high strikeout rate, if not even higher, in far better matchups than Sale. So very intrigued. I could sound like an absolute idiot. I fully admit to that right now, but yeah, we'll see. We'll go with Sale. Turning towards the bats. Sorry, I'm all over back and forth here. Top bats on the slate, in my opinion, is going to be Boston, and then followed by Toronto. Boston goes up against Kramer for Baltimore. Kramer allowed 7 home runs in spring training. It was the second most in all of the major leagues, and he's just a guy who, he just gets hit around a lot. So Boston, they're pretty affordable. Let's go over to their bats. They do have one of the values that I want to talk about here in Casas at just 2.6K. Super cheap. He's probably going to be starting. He's going to have that lefty-righty matchup going up against Kramer. So it would not shock me if he is in there. And other guy I want to talk about is Yoshida. 4.5K. Again, came over from Japan. I think he's going to be fantastic. I think he's only going to see his salary increase as we kind of go throughout the season here. But yeah, those two are great. And then, there we go, third base. Devers, 5.8K. So this is kind of where we see that DK has really shot up the prices on the bats as well. We weren't seeing bats this high on opening day. So starting with these three, I think that's a fine start, especially if you're going with that Boston stack. And I do think that Boston's probably my favorite stack on the entire day. Following them, it's going to be Toronto. And one of the main reasons for that, they're going up against Flaherty. He's no slouch of a pitcher by any means, but like they are extremely affordable. We saw the power of their offense. We've seen the talent level on this offense over the past couple of years, and to only have three of them over 3.9K is pretty laughable almost. I mean, it's still baseball. Even the Hall of Famers fail 70% of the time in their at-bats, but still. Guerrero, 5.2K, Springer, Bichette, probably going to be starting there. Another value play that's sticking out on this slate is Kiermaier, 2.1K. He's also going to get that lefty-righty matchup going up against Flaherty. And speaking of guys who were raking this spring, guys who were hitting very, very well, Kiermaier. He was one guy that did it. Regular season last year, not so much, but I do think that he can turn it around, especially in these nice lefty-righty matchups going up against Flaherty. So Casas, Kiermaier, those are two value plays that you should be targeting kind of moving forward here. Obviously, like you have your other prospects, like high prospects that haven't been, shot up yet in terms of salary. So you got like Jordan Walker for St. Louis. He's 2,000, I think, on offense. Volpe for the Yankees, he's 2.6K at shortstop. So the value is out there. A couple other value guys I did want to talk about. The first guy is on Tampa Bay. Siri, 2.6K. And one reason I'm on him, and he's got to get on base to do it. That's the tough part. But stolen base upside. We have seen just, obviously with the rule changes, like I read the article, it was like, what was the stat? Stolen base. There were more stolen bases on opening day this year than there's ever been since like 1906 or something. Like it was an absurd number, and like it's tripled of what it was over the past couple of years. So stolen bases are going to be huge and definitely an important part of DFS this season. Siri, he's got that stolen base upside. He just needs to get on base. That is the main issue. He had 10 stolen bases in spring, the second most in all of the majors. So do have some interest in him from there. Other value plays that we could be targeting at first base. Another first baseman who's going to be cheap. Hall for Philadelphia. Going up against Eovaldi, another platoon, nice lefty-righty matchup, who has certainly, home run upside power to him. And then the final guy I want to talk about in terms of value comes from Cincinnati, third base, Streer, where he is. There he is, 3.1K. I think this guy is going to be another kind of special guy that we might be playing quite a bit of as we kind of go throughout the season. So kind of interested in him for now. So not as high on him as the other guys, but still, just if you're looking for another value play, he could be one that you go to. So back to the sheet. Obviously, GPP. My favorite team is going to be Baltimore, going up against Chris Sale. Chris Sale could see a lot of ownership with that nice, super cheap price tag at 6.7K. I haven't seen any pitch count limit on Chris Sale, but still, Baltimore, they knocked him around quite a bit in spring training. Maybe it happens again. We saw what their offense can do, so I do think Baltimore is the top there. Angels, I like them as a second favorite GPP. They let people down a lot, which kind of automatically lowers their ownership. But we talked about Fujinami and his severe control issues all throughout spring. Like if they're going to be walking an Angels batter every single inning, they can certainly put up some numbers here pretty quickly. Other teams to kind of just talk about, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Cincinnati. They kind of round things out. For me, it's kind of my favorite other stacks. Philadelphia and Atlanta are very pricey, though. You'll kind of see it. We'll just hover over Philadelphia here real quick. Hitters, yeah, they got a bunch of guys way up here. Obviously, Hoskins, Harper on the IL. But 5,000, 5.6, and 5.9. Having three guys above 5K. Not many teams have that right now at this point of the season. And Atlanta, 6'2", Acuna. I get it. He's going to be stealing bases like crazy. It would not shock me if he gets 60 stolen bases this season with all the new rules. 5.3 Riley, all these guys. Olsen at 4.7. Honestly, I think this is a great price for Olsen. Going up against Gray, a nice lefty-righty matchup. Talked about how great he did during spring. It was kind of a bummer during opening day, especially when he struck out with the bases loaded. But it is what it is. It's baseball. It's going to happen. I still think that 4.7K is pretty cheap, all things considered, for Olsen in that nice lefty-righty matchup. So that kind of covers everything. I think pitchers-wise, like it's going to be Strider, Lodolo, Sale's going to see some ownership as well. Those are kind of like the big three strikeout guys who have, a little bit lower of salary compared to where they should be. And then with bats, I like Boston, I like Toronto. It's kind of tough to mix and match Boston and Toronto, which kind of stinks. Like if you want to go with a value Casas, for Boston, you're going to be fading Vlad Guerrero. So, but if you, by doing that, you lose the value. So it kind of stinks like that. I got distracted. Klenich just hit a double. So that was awesome. So that's kind of how the slate's going to be rolling out. Obviously, pay attention to lineup, see who's in, who's out, pay attention to weather, do all those sorts of things. But again, we really do appreciate you guys watching these videos. Thumbs up, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. We're on our goal to 4,500 subscribers here. So again, no video on Sunday, but Mega Ruler will be back on Monday probably with your next video. So thanks, good luck in your contests, and thanks for watching.